here we are again. So, alright, you know how to use your brush and you got used to the material. It's now the next step to get used to mixing colors. I want to show you something. Here is a little color wheel. And what I want to show you in this color wheel is that we have 3 primary colors. Those are red, blue, and yellow. And with these 3 primary colors, we can mix 3 secondary colors. Maybe you felt this coming, but it's your turn now. This simple exercise is meant to get a feel for your brush and also to learn how to work with a water-based medium. With the spare part of your paper, let's get going to make a color circle of your own. You might want to grab a pencil. With your pencil, you draw a circle. No need to be perfect. Good. And this circle, you want to divide by making a smaller circle in it. Then from the center, you draw a line up. And you draw 2 lines to separate the circle into thirds. Good. These thirds, you cut them into halves and you have a circle with 6 pieces. Let's get started with the brush. So, just like we learned, we will start with blue. And we will paint one of the inner segments. Try to make it slightly even, but that's already a practice. Good. Then with this brush, you flick it in the water and then you remove some of the excess water. You might dab the paper once. And with what you have left on the brush, you will color the outer segment. And then you get a nice variation in color with just the same blue. Nice, right? Okay, here is where we have to pay attention. When working with warm and cool colors, we could use 2 pots to clean your brush. So, cool colors, as you might know, are the ones closer to blue. So on that half of the color wheel. So there are cool purples, then it goes to blue, and then there are cool greens. The other half of the circle are warm colors. So it starts from this reddish purple, and then it turns into red, orange, yellow, and yellowish green. So we use 1 glass for our cool tones and the other glass for our warm tones. So let's go to our warm tones. Using the same technique, try your red. Different paints have different amounts of pigment. I noticed that red often is very pigmented. But give it a try. Color the segment that is not the one next to the blue, but one further. Again, no need to be precise. Have some fun. And then the same technique goes for the outer segment. Flick your brush in the water, get rid of the excess water, dry it slightly on your paper, and continue with the outer segment. If the inner segment is still a little bit wet, it could be that the colors start to merge or run into each other, blend. That's not a problem, it's very interesting to see the effect. You might want to use it in some of your other work. Then of course yellow. Wet your brush again and reactivate the yellow. Sometimes you can work with wet pigment. I like to work with dry pigment so that I can determine the amount of reactivated paint myself. Okay, once your brush is saturated with the pigment, go ahead and make the last segment. We're leaving 2 segments open between the red and the blue. Same trick, flick the brush in the water, dry it, and then color the outer segment. Nice. So now you have the 3 primary colors. You might see it coming that we will be mixing the 3 secondary colors. So just as a reminder for you, here is the color wheel again. We will not be mixing all the variations. We will choose a green, a purple, and an orange. So let the mixing begin. Red and blue together form a purple, which is a cool color. Make sure you take your right pots to clean your brush. We reactivate or take some of the red paint. Let's put it somewhere else on your plate. And reactivate some of the blue paint. Mix it and see how much you like your purple color. I think my purple color is a little bit too blue, so I will mix in some extra red. I think that's a nice purple. And obviously we will color the segment in between red and blue. Doing this will help you make choices when you want to make your own work. Which colors do I want and how do I actually make them? Then again, make the outer segment light purple by simply having a ratio of water to paint in your brush that contains less paint and more water. Let's continue with green. With a clean brush, get some of your blue and then some of your yellow. The more pure your work, the more vibrant your colors are. And with pure, I mean that there is no mixture of previous paint in your brush. If there is some mix of paint in your brush or on your plate that you used before, your color will be a little muted, a little less vibrant. It can actually be an aesthetic choice to go with more muted colors. I personally really enjoy that. Nice! Last but not least, orange. If you think that the paint on your plate is a little too muddy, you could clean your brush and take some of it away. And then start by reactivating some of the fresher paint. So we take our yellows and we take some of our red. Since red is very saturated in pigment, I take a little less red than I take yellow. And I come to a nice orange. If you like the color, go ahead and fill in the last segment. And then finalize your color wheel. Before we continue, it might be nice to observe our color wheel for a little bit because there's lots to learn. Looking at the color wheel, you can see how the use of water worked for you. You might have some cauliflower effects where you can see that there is a line showing within your segment. So for example here, you can tell that some of the pigment collected there. It's not something that is right or wrong, but just something to be aware of that you can use or prevent in your work. Here you can see that both parts were wet when I added the outer segment. You can see that the pigment is slowly running into this side. Also something we can use or prevent. Lastly, you can tell something about the consistency of the use of water to paint ratio. All the segments on the inside are about equal in saturation in this case, and also on the outside. The segments are about equal in saturation. This one might be a little less. So in order to grow your consistency in this, these little practices every now and then are very nice to do. So time to look at our reference image. You received a link of a web page where you can find all the reference images that are part of my workshop sets. And for this set, we have the red currant and the chart.